The Galactic Council's Xenobiology Summit had never seen such tension. Representatives from 47 species filled the observation dome, their varied respirators hissing and translators humming as they watched the demonstration arena below. Anna stepped into the sterile white space, her boots clicking against the polished floor, seemingly oblivious to the collective intake of breath from the audience. Leo stood at the control panel, his fingers hovering over the emergency containment protocols. His jaw was tight as he watched his partner descend the stairs into the arena. They had argued about this for weeks. The council had explicitly forbidden unsupervised human interaction with Kreshtar young. And for good reason, the species held the record for the most violent first contact in recorded history. Anna, you still have 30 seconds to abort. Leo's voice crackled through her earpiece. His dark eyes tracked her movement on multiple screens, each showing different angles of the arena. Nobody will think less of you. Anna's laugh was soft, almost musical. Yes, they will. That's exactly what they'll think, Leo. That's why we're here. In the observation deck, Ambassador Thelax of the Kreshtar delegation rose to his full 3-meter height. His scales rippled with agitation, catching the light and patterns that his species used to communicate distress. This is madness, he hissed, his words translated into a dozen languages simultaneously. The human female does not understand what she faces. Our young are not domesticated creatures. They are apex predators from the moment they draw breath. The Verdanian representative, a being of pure energy contained within a crystalline form, pulsed in what might have been agreement. Humans are fragile. We have reviewed the biological data. Their skin tears easily, their bones break under minimal pressure. Why does she insist on this demonstration? Because, said Minister Yalta, the human delegation's senior diplomat, you've all been treating us like we're made of glass ever since we joined the council. Anna volunteered to prove a point. Below, a door hissed open on the far side of the arena. The Kreshtar cub that emerged was the size of an earth tiger, covered in midnight blue scales that seemed to absorb light. Its 6 eyes, arranged in 2 vertical rows, fixed immediately on Anna. The creature's intelligence was unmistakable. This was no mere animal, but a sentient being in its first year of life, already capable of complex thought and planning. The cub's claws extended, each one as long as Anna's finger. It lowered its body, haunches coiling like springs. Every species in the observation dome recognized the posture. This was a predator preparing to strike. Anna didn't run. She didn't even flinch. Instead, she knelt down, making herself smaller, and extended one hand palm up in a gesture that transcended species barriers. The universal sign of offering of peace. Easy there, little one, she murmured, knowing the cub's translator implant would render her words into something it could understand. I'm not here to hurt you. The cub's nostrils flared, processing Anna's scent. Its head tilted, confusion evident in the way its eyes narrowed and widened in sequence. The smell was all wrong. Where was the fear? Every creature the cub had ever encountered, even its own kind, gave off the sharp tang of adrenaline when facing a Kreshtar. But this soft-skinned biped smelled of curiosity, interest. Leo's hand hovered over the containment button. Heart rate's steady. Remarkably steady. How is she so calm? The cub moved forward, each step deliberate, predatory grace evident in every muscle. It circled Anna once, twice, studying her from every angle. Then, with movements too fast for most species to track, it lunged forward and clamped its jaws onto Anna's sleeve. The observation dome erupted into chaos. Ambassador Thelax roared, demanding immediate intervention. 3 species representatives activated their personal shields, convinced they were witnessing an imminent fatality. Leo's finger actually touched the containment button before what happened next made him freeze. Anna laughed. Not a scream, not a gasp of pain, but genuine, delighted laughter. And then she did something that would be replayed in xenobiology classes for the next century. She tugged back. Not hard enough to hurt, but firmly enough to engage. She turned the attack into a game, pulling gently on her own sleeve while the cub maintained its grip. The creature's eyes widened in surprise, then something remarkable happened. The tension drained from its body. Its tail, which had been lashing in predatory excitement, began to wag. That's it, Anna cooed, maintaining the gentle tug of war. You're not scary. You're just a baby testing boundaries, aren't you? The cub released her sleeve and pounced backward, dropping into a play stance that its species shared with predators across 1,000 worlds. Its mouth opened in what could only be described as a grin, revealing rows of crystalline teeth. Then it pounced forward again, this time clearly playing, batting at Anna's extended hand with sheathed claws. Ambassador Thelax sank back into his seat, his scales shifting to colors that indicated profound shock. "Impossible," he whispered. "Our young only play with family. They are testing others, establishing dominance, preparing for the hierarchy. They never play with other species?" Minister Yalta finished for him, unable to keep the satisfaction from her voice. Maybe they would, if other species weren't too terrified to try. For the next 20 minutes, the entire council watched in stunned silence as Anna and the Crescitar cub played. She rolled a ball across the arena floor, and the cub chased it with abandon. She scratched behind the ridge where its scales met, and the creature practically melted, a deep rumbling purr emanating from its chest. She taught it a simple game of hide-and-seek behind the arena's obstacles, and the cub caught on with frightening intelligence, its eyes gleaming with joy at the novel experience. When Anna finally stood to leave, the cub pressed its massive head against her leg, clearly reluctant to see her go. She knelt one last time, placing her forehead against its snout in a gesture of affection that needed no translation. Leo met her at the arena exit, relief and pride warring on his face. "You're absolutely insane," he said, pulling her into a brief hug. "Maybe," Anna replied, waving at the observation dome where representatives were already flooding Minister Yalta with questions. "But we just changed the conversation about humans in the galaxy. They've been treating us like we're fragile because we don't have scales or natural weapons. They forgot that we spent millennia as both prey and predator. We know how to read body language. We know how to build trust. We know how to play," Leo added, understanding dawning in his eyes. "Exactly," Anna said, looking back at the cub, which was being ushered out by its caretakers. It kept looking back at her, tail still wagging. "Fear is easy. It's the default setting for the universe. But humans? We've always been good at finding common ground, even with the monsters under the bed." Ambassador Thelax approached them as they entered the observation level, his scales now showing colors of respect and contemplation. "Human Anna," he said formally, "my species would like to extend an invitation. Would you be willing to visit our homeworld? To work with our young? We have much to learn about your kind's unique approach to interspecies relations." Anna smiled, the same fearless smile she'd worn when facing down a predator cub. "Ambassador, I'd be honored." As the summit adjourned, the footage of Anna's interactions spread across the galactic networks. Within days, requests flooded in from dozens of species, all wanting to understand the humans better. The species that could play with predators, the species that chose trust before fear, the species that saw babies where others saw threats. Humanity had earned its place among the stars not through superior weapons or technology, but through something far more powerful, the courage to extend a hand in friendship, even when everyone else was running for the exits, and sometimes, just sometimes, that made all the difference.